Ideally, if you have a very strong diaphragm, you should be able to perform this exercise with your body weight on top of your stomach. So if you are somebody who weighs 200 pounds, you should be able to do this with a 200-pound weight on your stomach. If you're unable to do that, one of two options. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Steven here with Team Euphoric, and today I'm going to be demonstrating some exercises for your diaphragm. With regard to the diaphragm, I'm going to be taking you through two different exercises. One is going to be an awareness exercise, and then the second exercise is going to be a segmental strengthening and reinforcement exercise for the diaphragm. In terms of the diaphragm, the reason that this is going to be a terrific exercise is because a lot of people, when they breathe, they have an inverted breathing pattern. Ideally, when you breathe, the first 2/3 of the inhale should come from the belly, so you should have expansion of the abdominal cavity, and then the last third of the breath, you should have expansion of the chest. You should also breathe in 3D. Most people are 2D breathers. What I mean by that is not only should you be breathing front to back, but you should also have some lateral expansion of the rib cage and some vertical expansion of the actual shoulder muscles. Now, with regard to the diaphragm, one of the reasons why a lot of people are going to have an inverted breathing pattern is because a lot of people will tend to suck in their stomachs and they only breathe through their chest, and they tend to store a lot of stress in their shoulders. A lot of people, if you ever ask them to take a nice deep breath, they are just going to go and shrug up with the shoulders as opposed to letting the abdominal contents fill up. With regard to the actual diaphragm itself, in terms of the anatomy of the diaphragm is going to attach from the internal surfaces of your rib cage or sternum, and it's also going to attach to your lumbar spine. Specifically, we have three different parts. We have a sternal attachment, we have a costal attachment, and we have a lumbar attachment. With regard to the sternal attachment, this is going to attach to the internal surface of the xiphoid process. With regard to the costal attachment, this is going to attach to the internal surfaces of the lower 6 ribs, so ribs 7 to 12, and also their costal cartilages. And then with regard to the lumbar attachment, it is going to attach to the L1 to L3 vertebrae. And then it also attaches to the central tendon of the diaphragm. In terms of its action, what the diaphragm is responsible for is increasing the volume of the thoracic cavity. So what happens when you contract the diaphragm is the diaphragm is going to push all the abdominal contents down, and that is going to allow for greater expansion of the rib cage to allow your lungs to fill up with air. In terms of the exercises, the first one I'm going to be showing you is an awareness exercise. Because most people have an inverted breathing pattern and they tend to breathe in their chest, this is going to be terrific for people that have a very weak diaphragm or just don't know how to do diaphragmatic breathing. For the awareness exercise, what you would want to do is take an empty water bottle, and I'm going to have Kat place it on her stomach, and she's just going to use her hands to hold that bottle in place. So you could either hold it around, hold it on top, it doesn't really matter. The important thing is that you are just keeping it stable on the actual stomach. From here, what I'm going to have Kat do is she's going to take a deep inhale and try and raise the water bottle as high toward the ceiling as possible. Once she can no longer go any higher, then she's going to exhale and try and draw the belly button down toward the spine as much as she can. And she's just going to continue to do that. She's going to inhale, raise the belly as high as you can, and then exhale down toward the floor. In terms of the breathing, whether you're breathing through the mouth or the nose, for this exercise, it doesn't really matter. If you want, you can inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, but whatever your normal breathing pattern is, you can do that. It doesn't really matter one way or the other. But this is the actual awareness exercise for the diaphragm. Once we've done the awareness exercise and they have good awareness of their diaphragm, then we can start to strengthen the diaphragm. In terms of the strengthening exercise, we are essentially doing the exact same thing as the awareness exercise, only this time we are going to be placing a weight on the abdominal cavity. So right here I have a kettlebell. I'm going to place an 8-kilo kettlebell on Kat's stomach, and she's just going to hold it by the bell to just keep it in place. If this is too heavy, then what we would do is just grab a lighter dumbbell. The reason I grabbed this one is because this is the lightest kettlebell I have, but we're going to give Kat, we're going to make her do the actual segmental strengthening exercise and see if this is a good weight for her. So she's going to inhale and raise the kettlebell as high as she can. And she's able to do it, so it looks like it's a good weight. And then she's going to exhale and drop it down toward the belly. So inhale, raise the kettlebell as high as possible. Exhale, let the kettlebell lower down toward the spine as much as possible. And this is the segmental strengthening and reinforcement exercise for the diaphragm. With regard to this exercise, ideally, if you have a very strong diaphragm, you should be able to perform this exercise with your body weight on top of your stomach. So if you are somebody who weighs 200 pounds, you should be able to do this with a 200-pound weight on your stomach. If you're unable to do that, one of two options. You could either decrease your weight or you could do this exercise until you get stronger. Now, with regard to this exercise itself, one thing worth noting is when I first started doing this exercise back in about 2015, I noticed that whenever I would take a deep inhale, once you get to around repetition number 10, you might get a burning sensation in the neck. So if you do notice that you're getting a little bit of that sensation, nothing to be concerned about. As long as it's not excruciating and it's not painful, it's something that a lot of people will experience, but the more you do this exercise, the more those symptoms are going to dissipate. So just something worth noting if you do experience that type of sensation. But with regard to this exercise, what you can do is sets of 20 repetitions. The reason we're going high with the repetitions is because your diaphragm is constantly working throughout the day. You're breathing every single second of the day. So because you are constantly stimulating your diaphragm, it is built for endurance. It's not built for strength or power. So we would want to do higher repetitions. So what you could do is 3 sets of 20 repetitions for this specific exercise, but that's pretty much it for the exercises. We have the awareness exercise, empty water bottle, inhale, exhale, try to raise it as high as you can and bring it down towards the stomach. Once you're able to do that, then we would move on to the segmental strengthening and reinforcement exercise of the diaphragm by placing a kettlebell or a dumbbell on top of your stomach. But that's pretty much it for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that like button so I know to make more of these types of videos in the future. And if you're either new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, as I will be uploading new videos every single day. That's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you again tomorrow.